Hi, and welcome to learn how the Vinton method applies to the painful, life-destroying condition of neuropathy. See, neuropathy means damage to nerves. Now, there are 3 or 4 major causes for neuropathy. 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 30,000 physicians is even familiar, meaning all family doctors, all specialists give the same category of medications: Neurontin, gabapentin, Cymbalta, Lyrica. I mean, those are all brain drugs. They're all actually seizure medications, and they try to short-circuit the nerve misfiring up into the brain. But it leaves most people feeling foggy, not well, and it really doesn't work that well to begin with. And that's the best that modern medicine has. It doesn't matter where you go. If you go to the main clinic, or if you go to your family doctor or your local specialist. So what is it that the Vinton method uniquely does for neuropathy? Hopefully you've watched the introductory video to the Vinton method on the homepage and understand that part of what makes us unique and why patients travel from all over the country, 50% of every patient every day is from out of state, is because they weren't able to get results closer to home, and the reason is because of the Vinton method. So we have 6 physicians, 3 medical doctors, 3 doctors of chiropractic. Again, most people are unaware that of the 132 medical schools in the United States, only 6 teach a class in pain. We have pain management specialists on staff. We have alternative methods on staff that actually help address the underlying cause. Now, there are 3 main causes for neuropathy. The first are mechanicals, right? Stenosis. Tissue damage, right? Something's damaged the tissue in some fashion. Stenosis is the closing off of the nerve holes in your spine with or without back pain, right? People sometimes have a hard time connecting how I have no back pain. What's that got to do with my feet? But it's huge, it's common, and again, 1 in 10 or 1 in 30,000 physicians even knows. See, your family doctor, just so you know, received less than 1 hour of nutrition in their whole 8 years of schooling, right? And they receive less than 4 hours of training in the neuromusculoskeletal system, which represents 72% of the human body. It's crazy, but that's the standard of care, and there's reasons why that is. There's actually a whole chapter in our book, which you can find on the homepage, about how that came to be. But the bottom line is, mechanical reasons are one of the top reasons people have neuropathy. Number 2 are metabolic reasons, right? Of course, diabetes, right? Chemotherapy. There are cholesterol medications. There are 57 classes of medication that can damage the nerves. Then we have autoimmune conditions, lupus and Lyme and MS and things like that. So those are the 3 big categories. So part of the Vinton method is everybody, regardless of their complaint, gets a head-to-toe evaluation. We look and see what the neurological deficits are. And then we determine, is it mechanical? Is it metabolic? Is it neurologic? Is it an autoimmune problem? Because each one of those would require a different method of treatment to help solve it. Whereas your family doctor, everybody's getting the same scripts regardless of what the cause is. Nobody even asks what the cause is. So to me, that's malpractice, but that is unfortunately the standard of care. So by having 6 physicians, by looking head to toe to see what all the deficits could be, because everything's connected, to understanding that sometimes it is truly a neuropathy. Neuropathy means the nerves are damaged and dying. And that is different than a radiculopathy, right? So let's assume we have a pinched nerve in our lower back, but we don't have any back pain. But that nerve travels right down the leg and you feel it as throbbing in the foot. So that's a radiculopathy. That's not a true neuropathy. So we'll help determine that, because again, each would require a different method of attack to actually solve. We are a functional and a regenerative medicine clinic, which means we focus on the root cause and not merely treating the effects. That's why half our patients travel from out of state every day. That's why we're able to achieve results that people cannot get closer to home, because people always ask, well, why would I drive all the way over there? I'll just Go see my specialist. And the answer is your specialist does not do what we do. And as a result, you just end up being on pain, eventually disability, oftentimes amputation. And that's if the neuropathy doesn't kill you first. You'll get to the amputation part. So it is a serious condition that requires serious consideration. And that's one of the primary things that we do. We have over a 90% reversal and success rate. That's unheard of with neuropathy. And you certainly something you can't get just taking the medications. And so the great news is we also have tools that you will not find under one roof. We are the best equipped private facility in the country. We spent decades, 30 years, millions of dollars, worldwide study, trying to figure out how the best ways to help arrest and reverse the damage of neuropathy. The Vinton method starts with the head-to-toe evaluation. Again, 1 in 10, 20, maybe 1 in 30,000 physicians would even do that. Everybody always looks only at where it hurts, and nobody asks what the cause is, right? So then once we figured out what the cause is, if it's mechanical or metabolic or autoimmune or neurologic, well, each one of those would have a different way of addressing it, and using a metabolic attack on something that's mechanical would waste time and money. Conversely, using a mechanical approach on something that maybe was metabolic would do the same. So by knowing ahead of time what we're dealing with and quantifying it, and part of the Vinton method is we do a re-exam every 10 days. I mean, we're looking for positive results. We're looking for improvement. Again, that's part of how we get results. We have diagnostic methods like thermal imaging, surface electromyography, dynamic surface electromyography, X-ray, fluoroscopic motion X-ray, of course physical exams, orthopedic exams, neurologic exams, 3D scanners. I mean, we have tools and technologies, again, that you may find bits and pieces in different clinics you'll never find under one roof. It was a commitment we made to be the finest clinic in the United States. And again, that's why we've trained doctors from all 50 states, every province in Canada. 11 foreign countries have come to study with us. And as a result, like I said, the Vinton method is unique. It's not something you'll find, oh, just go to the guy closer, he'll do the same thing. Unfortunately, no. No, they won't. And so the Vinton method, by doing the comprehensive evaluation, figuring out what the exact underlying cause is, having a very wide and very deep toolbox to address this, understanding the role of pharmacologics, right? That's why we have pain management on staff, but understanding that's not going to fix the underlying cause. By having the tools also necessary to fix the underlying cause, you get both short and long-term relief. And again, in some cases, not just relief, but reversal. So in some cases aren't able to be relieved, but they're able to be managed. So we have tools, and again, that's why people come from all over the country. That's why half of our practice comes from out of state. Feel free to look at the videos and a copy of our book and the articles and whatnot on this site. But really it comes down to your evaluation, right? Because what worked for somebody else, just like a thumbprint or fingerprint, yours is completely different. So your exam might pull out 2 or 3 causes, where somebody else might have a singular cause. Yours might be completely different than theirs. So people always want to know, what's my treatment? Well, again, if you were a medical doctor, it would be Neurontin, gabapentin, Lyrica, Cymbalta, which most people have already been through. That's why they're looking at us. So the first thing is always that initial evaluation. There is never a charge. Oh God, 34 years ago we decided, we had a woman ask us 11 times in a 30-minute evaluation if what we were doing next was covered. It was so disruptive we couldn't finish. So now we do a 45-minute to a 1-hour evaluation, and when we are done, we'll have all the answers that we can answer your specific questions to, because we'll have the specific solutions to your specific problem. So the Vinton method, by having, for neuropathy, 8 or 10 options, whereas most physicians have just the pharmacological, right? Some might use the red light booties that you see on TV. But again, if yours is a metabolic problem, or if yours is a mechanical problem or an autoimmune problem, those red light booties aren't going to work. Now, we do employ the little red light booties and the other things that a lot of other doctors do, but you have to match it specifically. A lot of people, whether it's medical doctors or alternative health care or chiropractors, they have a hammer and everything looks like a nail. Well, in our office, by having the Vinton method and looking at the whole of the problem, we're able to determine, okay, this specific thing requires this specific approach. There's more than one thing going on. This requires this approach. By having the re-exams every 10 days, we're able to stay on track and make sure that we're making progress. And that's how we get the highest possible success rate that exists. And again, that's why patients drive in, fly in, because this is a debilitating condition. And when you can't get proper treatment or full results closer to home, they come to visit us, and that's what we're able to typically do. But it all starts with your evaluation, so make sure you call the number, schedule your evaluation. There's never a charge or an obligation. We decided to do this as a community service based on that woman Shirley 30-some years ago who asked us all those times, does my insurance cover this? Does my insurance cover this? And we were just doing exam after exam. And again, by having thermal cameras and x-rays and motion x-rays and MRIs and all kind of other tests that we utilize, and by having such a broad and such a deep toolbox that you just don't find in one clinic. That was our goal. That's what we set out to do, was to create a 5-star clinic. Most doctors do, again, the same thing. Or if you're at a chiropractic clinic, they all bought the red light booty package. The new thing in that vein is, here, you take this big basket of stuff home and do it yourself. That's the new thing. There's a few doctors in the area who do that. The goal is so the doctor doesn't have to work so much. You're doing a third or 2/3 of your treatment at home. They're still charging you for it, but they're able to work less in the office. The problem is this is a very complex thing. And the last gentleman who came in with this, basically a laundry basket full of stuff to take home, he was much older. He didn't understand what all this stuff in the basket was, and he never even opened it. And shame on the doctor for not taking all that stuff back when we called and explained, that this gentleman had dementia and that he really didn't understand. And besides that, his problem was much more complicated. They sold him all this stuff because that's the one thing that they went to the seminar to do. But his actually was a much deeper problem, and what they sold him never ever would have helped his condition long term. So again, we get that there's others out there trying to address neuropathy. I see newspaper ads and all kind of Facebook ads, but the reality is it's a very complicated issue. There are 4 main causes. Most people attack one, or they attack it with drugs. But nobody looks at the whole thing. That's what we do. That's what the Vinton method is. Again, that's what spent us 3 decades, millions of dollars, lots of overtime, putting all this together, trying to understand and working with thousands of patients from all over the world to help them solve this very debilitating condition. So when you're ready, just call for your evaluation. Don't ask what my treatment's going to be, because I don't know. We don't know until we do the exam. The exams are scheduled, they're 45 minutes to an hour in length. We don't double book. We're very serious about the care that we offer. And when we're done, then we can have a specific conversation about your specific set of issues, and then set out a plan to help you solve this. Because on its own, it doesn't solve. It does shorten your life significantly. And if you don't die from one of the other causes, you eventually end up in amputation. Our goal is to help you avoid all of that. So don't wait. Call the number. Our phones are answered live 24/7. We'll call you back. We'll get everything scheduled. And I look forward to meeting you at your evaluation.